in that regard. Our next presentation is on leveraging GIS technology to enhance compliance and monitoring of the EODR. And in doing that, you definitely have to go to the regulators or those enforcers of these regulations. So we actually have someone who has worked in the agriculture and certification industry for about 14 years and holds a master's degree in food quality management and bachelor's degree in agribusiness. She has also worked with smallholder farmers as a trainer on the UTZ standards. As an auditor of UTZ, RA, and the global GAP, 4C, and other international standards, and then the consultant in the fruits and vegetable industry in Ghana. Her auditing work in the Eastern, Western, and the Central Africa regions, according to her excellent opportunity to interact with cooperatives, estates, farms, processors, etc. She's passionate about training producers to have the right mindsets for farming and adopting good farming techniques and use of digital tools for improved livelihoods. Her journey in Rainforest Alliance began as a manager, certification partner, support, where she acted as a point of contact for certification and took charge in rolling out the RA's 2020 standard in Ghana and then provided support in Nigeria. As a senior manager in training for Rainforest Alliance now, our resource person coordinates training for producers, ATNs Association, that's Associate Trainer Networks, other RA staff in Africa, 18 countries actually, working closely with senior regional directors, country training staff, and other departments in training. When she's not working, she delights in cooking and gardening, meeting new people, and keeping fit. Ladies and gentlemen, our resource person is none other than Leslie Agyapong of Rainforest Alliance. Oh, Leslie.
Thank you very much, Evans, and very happy to. Please, are you able to hear me?
Loud and clear. Thank you.
Great. Very happy to be here today. I'm so excited. Rainforest Alliance, we have had some interaction with Agyapong, and I feel honored to be here to do this presentation. So I would, if you'd permit me, I would kindly share my screen and then we can go on. Let me know if you are able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen, please?
The screen is yes.
Okay, great. So I have been asked to speak on the topic leveraging GIS technology to enhance compliance and monitoring of EU GR. I am Leslie Agyapong, the Senior Manager Training Africa for Rainforest Alliance. So let me talk a little bit about Rainforest Alliance and what we do. So in 1987, our founder, and I have had the opportunity to meet him, Daniel, started the Rainforest Alliance, the idea that there should be a voice to help people, plants, and nature to interact, right? So this started in 1987, and we are happy about what we have seen over the years. Now, today, our global reach, okay, so our global reach, we are in worldwide amongst the largest farm to consumer standard in the world. And looking at the statistics, we have farmer and workers on certified farms. We have, 5.7 million hectares of certified farmlands. We are working with 76,100 companies. We are working with products with the seal, a lot of products with the seal. We have programs and we have 62 countries that we are working in with projects, and we have coalitions and alliance with a lot. Basically, what we do, we have grouped them into two. So we have our work on certification, which today we'll dive a little bit into it, and that is where we are going to focus our discussion on. And here on our certification, after you have gone through our certification process and you are audited and you are through, you receive our seal on your products. And we also have programs. So we are running a lot of landscape programs. We are running programs on climate change, on child labor, and quite a number of programs. For our crops, we are certified all these crops and counting, right? But in Ghana, we have cocoa, we have fruits, we have pineapple, we have passion, we have banana, and then we have a juice factory also certified. And we have more than about 120 certificate holders. Certificate holders these are the farmer groups or the companies that we are working with in Ghana. Our global reach, again, we have 46% of world cocoa production is Rainforest Alliance. 20% of world coffee production is Rainforest Alliance. We are working with about 42,000 plus products carrying the seal in 170 countries worldwide. So we are spread, and our seal is found on a lot of products in about 170. And maybe from now onwards, when you buy Kit Kats, you buy some chocolates, look at it, banana, you might see the frog on it, the seal on it. My slide wants to move. Okay, so let's look at how then our certification how it works. So farmers or farmer group or companies choose to join our certification program. We provide them support, resources, and training on improving social, environmental, and management practices. Then the farmers adopt more sustainable practices in line with our standard. Then an independent third-party auditors assess whether these farms meet our program's sustainability requirements. And if it's a yes or it's a take, then the farmers receive certification. So we give them license, we give them certificates, and the license is able to allow them to trade on our platform with their buyers wherever they are in the world. And I have shaded the farmers adopt more sustainable practices in line with the standard, because this is where we're going to focus. And it is very important that farmers, we support them, and we are also ensure that they comply so that they can trade with our seal. Yeah. So overview of EUGR. You are GIS team, so I know you know a lot about GIS. But let's look at the overview of EUGR and the role of GIS in compliance, monitoring, and ensuring compliance. So EU came up, they went to EU Parliament, and they said that if you are sending any produce to EU markets or any of the European countries, or you are lifting a crop or a product from their country to another, it has to be EUGR certified. And so they outlined a number of regulations that all would have to comply with. Yeah, the objective is to fight against deforestation and forest degradation by reducing their contribution of consumption in the EU. And so companies were obligated. So all companies obligated who are placing or who are selling the relevant products on the EU markets or export them from EU. So in Ghana, we have a lot of our cocoa going to the EU market, right? So the crop cocoa then becomes a crop that we have to make sure that it is EUGR compliant, right? And if you look at the regulations, we group them into two, right? the mandatory due diligence, and where it's saying that products must have a negligible risk of deforestation and be produced in accordance with relevant legislation of the country production, right? So what we are saying is that these crops must not be cropped in protected areas or in forests, right? They must have a negligible risk. And then the other part is the strict traceability requirements, where geographic coordinates, so we call it GPS coordinates, of all plots of land where the products were produced, so your farm or wherever it was produced, must be provided for each batch of shipments of products. So in effect, EUDR compliance is not directly to the farmer, for the farmer, but then it's for the company that is, so our companies that are shipping it into the EU market. But these companies can only get the data they need if our farmers comply with this and provide them with the data, because these companies are not the ones, right? And so they need, right? And so, and here we are looking at the mandate source about 4 hectares. And if you look at these two, you can see that GIS play a very key role in complying with this regulation, because the first one, you see that you should not be seen in a deforested area, right? Or forested area. You should not be seen in a forest. The second one, you see that you should have coordinates of your farm or polygons of your farm. So all these GIS becomes very crucial in attaining this. So now let's talk about, we'll break this session into two. We are just looking at the ensuring compliance, and then later we'll look at monitoring compliance, what Rainforest Alliance we do, right? So ensuring compliance, farms are not to be found in protected areas or forests, which I've talked about. And here we make sure that our farmers provide the GPS coordinates of all their plots, and then also polygons of those that are 4 hectares and more. You see the EU GI was talking about more than 4, but we pick coordinates for 4 and more, right? Then identify all plots of the certified crop. So it's the responsibility of the group or the company or the farmer group or the FBO to ensure, to identify all the plots, to know each farmer's plot, where is it located. And this also is done with GPS coordinates and or polygon, right? Then also polygons for 4 hectares and more are supposed to be provided. Now, I want to give you an overview of the cocoa regions and the forest. Now, if you look at the map, there's a map of the cocoa region. So we are found in the Bono East, in the Oti region, in Western North, in Central, in Ashanti, in Eastern region. And I've overlaid it with the forest reserves. And the greens are the forest. So you see that in the cocoa regions, there are quite a number of forests, right? Protected areas and a lot of forests dispersed. And then you can see the cocoa growing regions. So what it means is that there's a possibility that some of our farms could be closer to a protected area or closer to a forest, or could be in a forest, right? So this is where the risk is, which makes it very, very important if you want to make sure that Ghana complies with EUDR and our cocoa is not sourced from forested areas. Then we see this map is showing us that, hey, we need to have a look at it. We need to see what we need to do, because already in the cocoa regions, we are seeing a lot of forest around. And this we do through our certification in Africa Cocoa Fund. So certification, the companies have to ensure compliance. And Rainforest Alliance also, we also make money available to support some of our certificate holders to be able to do some of these things. And that is where we had a good collaboration with ArcGeo Special, where they supported some of our certificate holders on the mapping and having a database and polygons and so on and so forth. Yeah. In the monitoring, Rainforest Alliance, we have a geodata validation. We have a system, we call it, it's a platform, a digital platform. We call it Rainforest Alliance Certification Platform, which is called RACP. What is that? Is that is able to, anytime a group wants to have an audit, they would send in their group member registry, and then they would have to send in their polygons and their GPS coordinates per plots. It started with the largest farm, right, per plot. And then what RACP does is that it's able to detect inconsistency in the polygons of our certificate holders. That's a CH. Yeah, so it's able to look at invalid geometry, such as self-intersecting, overlaps, multiple GPS points in a polygon, location errors, etc. It's able also to see geodata location in forests, in towns, and in roads. And then the percentage polygons loaded through a count, right, on the platform. And then we are able to alert CH on good and bad polygons by generating an error test. So this is what we do to monitor. So we don't only say, go comply with it, but we also have a system in place to be able to monitor to see that they are complying, yeah, so that we are sure that this whatever information our farmers are giving to the companies, and that is what the EU wants, right? A due diligence statement. We know that this is able to suffice in the EU regulations. And this, we actually call it our EUDR offerings, where farmers or companies are able to opt in on our platform and say, hey, I want to use your system to help me to give due diligence data to EU, right? And if you are a certificate holder, we roll you on and you are able to comply with others, and then our auditors will come in and check and make sure that you are in compliance. Then after that, you can give them data, due diligence data to your company. What we must say is that we don't determine that a company is EUDR compliant, yeah, because EUDR is not our standard, but then we give you the data to be able to show to EU, that's the due diligence data, to be able to show to EU that this is what I have done for compliance. Yeah. So on the data risk assessment on polygons, RACP can assess the polygons based on risk associated with tree cover loss, because we are also encouraging shade trees, right? So if we see tree cover loss, then we are able to say, okay, let's get closer. Let's know, is it that you have harvested trees, or you have degraded the forest to be able to plant your cocoa? Yeah, so it gives us the pointers and the red flags, and we are able to follow through. It also helps us to see encroachments in forestry, and we go beyond. EUGR is looking at 2020, but in our standard, we are rather looking at no encroachment from 2014, and then of course placement in water and that. So I just want to show you some of them, some of the pictures using an RACP to be able to capture. Yeah, and you see here, these are the points that we receive from farmers, and we are able to know, for example, where this farm is located. And this is a GPS points of GMR that has deviated and located in mining sites, and some even on the road, right? But for GIS, it becomes very difficult to see where these points are located. So GIS is very important, right? Because then it helps you to know that where exactly the point is. And we'll even go beyond point to polygons, right? Where you are able to see where exactly is this. And it helps you to know whether the farmer is in compliance or not. Yeah, these are all examples. So these are captured from the group member registry. And after we run the analysis, we are able to know, so here you have the farmer's ID, you have the latitude, the longitude, the name, and so on and so forth. And here also you see GPS points pinned in forest, yeah, in non-cocoa growing area. And also sometimes you see them in farm towns. Sometimes you see the points in another country in the ocean, so the GIS is very crucial for us, and we have deployed it. From the time we started deploying it and using it, it has really helped, because sometimes out of the fault of no one, it could be a mistake. And certificate holders, we are able to give them feedback and say, hey, these are the points that have issues, and they are able to get to us back and be able to work on them. Yeah, so I mean, there's an overview. So you see points in forests. The green is the forest. You see points in forest. Sometimes you even see the polygons overlapping, right? And through GIS and through our analysis, we are able to see all these. And usually when this happens, we go back to the certificate holder, the group or the farmer group, and say, this is what we have. We can't work with this. Then the person, if it's a mistake, he has to correct it. If the farmer is in the protected area, then that farmer cannot be certified, because we don't want to source cocoa beans or whatever crop it is from a deforested area. Yeah, so in conclusion, I want to say that GIS is key in ensuring compliance to EUDR. NRA works with its certificate holders to ensure proper traceability and lack of encroachment into protected areas. The knowledge in GIS and the use of it is very crucial, not only for cocoa farming, but for the modern day farmer and other stakeholders in the agricultural supply chain and space. It is very important that we embrace GIS, we learn, we get to know more about it. We have to invest in its tools to be able to help us, because the more you invest in better tools, the more accurate your data becomes, yeah, and the more you are also able to analyze, accurate analysis, of it. So it's very important that all stakeholders look at this and see how we invest, how we support, and how we embrace GIS in modern day agriculture, and the need for all stakeholders to collaborate together. I have always maintained that it's a chain, right? And everybody has a role to play, but we need to all collaborate and not to work in silos, so that together we can move modern agriculture, the farmer, and our work in the space forward. Thank you very much, and I look forward to questions.
Thank you, Leslie, for making us know how GIS technology is enhancing compliance and also certification as a whole in all the cash crops that you actually work with.